It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
The Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter and columnist there at the New York Post. Michael, we are talking about President Trump. You just heard John. I thought that line that he said last night about the hostages was great. And he also talked about unity. One of my favorite lines last night was when he said, I want to be a president for all America, not half of America. What did you think, Michael, of President Trump's big speech?
Well, I thought it was more than one speech, and that was my problem with it. They released what was billed as excerpts early, as, people often do for these big speeches. And there were some gaps where we knew that, for example, he was going to go into detail about the shooting. I mean, he sort of telegraphed that in the excerpts. But I think that as it went on, the point about unity, the point about bringing the country together was lost. So it was a very strong start. I agree with the Wall Street Journal editorial today, which says that basically the first 30 minutes were very good. But then the next hour was in many ways he went into a rally ramble, just telling stories, just veering off course. And I think that by the end of the night, he had smothered his main purpose, which was, as he told me in the interview on the way to Milwaukee, that he wanted to unify the country. Recall that, Rita, he told me that he had a speech written attacking the Biden administration. He said, really good, really tough, but I tore it up. And it was after the shooting that he really felt differently about the need to unify the country. I believe he's sincere in that feeling. I just believe he got off track in that speech with ad-libbing, and it sort of buried the point. And I think a lot of people came away, if they stayed till the end, feeling like, boy, I'm not sure what he was talking about after an hour and a half.
And Michael Goodwin, Governor Patterson has a question.
Michael, I think that if President Trump had stopped speaking at about an hour in, that right now we'd be comparing him to Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Ronald Reagan, and it all wrapped up into one. That's how good he actually was. But then he kind of, I don't know if he was afraid that because he was speaking to the whole country, that his core supporters would abandon him. They weren't going to abandon him.
I think that's a really interesting point, David, and I tend to agree with you on that. He does, I believe, sort of feel the need to feed the base. And what that entails is saying outrageous things many times. The rallies are distinct, right? Nobody does rallies. Nobody has ever done rallies quite this way, certainly in the modern age. And I think that they have, in a way, taken over his relationship with his most fervent supporters. And the rallies are a kind of show. And he has to give them laugh lines or red meat lines. Those sort of things, I think, that inspire and make the rally an entertainment spectacle as well as a political rally. And I think he sometimes feels like he needs to do that or he'll lose them. I mean, it's a little bit like his, TV ratings. I mean, how he can be obsessed with television ratings and judges things by, what are your ratings? What were your ratings? We had the best ratings, and that kind of thinking. And so I think there's something to that in terms of he felt the need last night to go off script and to not follow the theme that he created in the aftermath of the shooting and revert in some ways to what he has been comfortable with.
Ed Cox.
Yeah, Michael, it's very traditional for presidential nominations to do it, to pick a vice president who solidifies their base. And he certainly did that here. Yes. Look,
I believe J.D. Vance will be a terrific choice. And, you know, a number of major themes came out of this, particularly the first 3 days of the convention. The unity of the party behind Trump, it's his party. I quoted Ed Rollins, who worked for Ronald Reagan, ran his 84 campaign, which ended in one of the greatest landslides. And Rollins said he has never seen anybody control the Republican Party to the extent that Trump has it now. It's his party completely. And that included Reagan, Ed said. The other thing, I think, is this intense focus on populism and on the upper Midwest states. And there are all kinds of arguments about what J.D. Vance would be good at and what he's bad at, et cetera. But when you look at Trump's nominating speech, when he announces the pick of J.D. Vance, it is all about Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I mean, he's basically stashing J.D. Vance in those states. And J.D. Vance talked, his speech, by the way, I thought was brilliant and so well delivered. I think that Trump is really focused laser-like on winning the Electoral College, and he's going to do it in the upper Midwest. I mean, we know in the last two elections that's been where the case has been decided. And I think he brought J.D. Vance in mostly for that. Because remember, we talked a lot about what is it? What do you get with a vice president? What do you want? What are the things you're looking for? Is it stability? Is it somebody who broadens your base or whatever? I think J.D. Vance deepens Trump's base in that area, and he believes he needs that to win. I think that's telling. I also think it's right.
Yeah, very interesting. Michael Goodwin, thank you very much. We love having you here. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, Michael.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.